James and I both started working at Keystone Data Analytics in 2019, right before the pandemic. We were pretty good friends. Every Friday, we went out for drinks with a few of the other software engineers. But, like most tech companies, Keystone went fully remote in 2020, and James and I lost touch. James always kept his camera off in meetings. For 4 years, I didn't see his face. Then, one morning, he turned his camera on by mistake. What I saw was so horrible, I'll never forget it. "Does anyone have any blocks?" Aisha asked during our morning stand-up. "The time series graphs don't look right," James said. "We think there's something going on with the date logs." I was the one who'd written the logging code, so I told James I'd look into it. Keystone developed data analytics platforms for government organizations. We'd recently signed a billion-dollar contract to build a new platform for a CIA research project. Everything about the project was very hush-hush. We were all forced to obtain security clearance. James was the only exception. He had all kinds of authorizations that the rest of us didn't have. When the rest of us were forced to return to the office, he was the only one allowed to stay fully remote, too. When I asked him about it, he told me his uncle worked for the CIA, and he'd worked on a few other CIA-linked projects before that had required high-level security clearance. Keystone valued his expertise and wanted to keep him happy. After looking through my code, I thought I'd found the problem. I fixed it and then messaged James on Teams and asked him to look at the time series graphs again. He said they still didn't look right. "Can I call you?" I asked. "Sure." I started a video chat, expecting, like usual, James to join with his camera off. Instead, though, his face filled my screen. He looked skeletal. His eyes were completely white, too. But even stranger than that, a tiny, deformed man with a hooked nose and beady black eyes sat on his shoulders, pulling his hair. James's screen went black. "Thanks for looking into this, Cameron," he said, as if nothing had happened. "The time series graphs are still all over the place. I'm looking at the data, and the dates still don't look right." I barely heard what he said. I was still in shock, frozen. "Are you okay?" he asked. "Sorry, can you repeat that?" "The dates in the data don't match the dates in the graph." I scanned my code again. I could barely focus, though. I kept thinking about what I'd just seen. "I'll have to get back to you later," I said, and I ended the call. I didn't want to believe what I'd seen was real. I told myself I just imagined it, but I knew I hadn't. I walked over to our team leader Aisha's cubicle. She sipped her tea and then looked over at me. "What's going on, Cameron?" she asked. "I just got off a call with James. He didn't look well." "You actually saw him?" "I know this is going to sound strange, but there was someone else in the room with him." "And?" "He was sitting on James's shoulders, pulling on his hair." James looked like he hadn't eaten for weeks, too. "You think he's being abused?" "I have no idea what's going on, but I can't stop thinking about what I saw. Maybe we should go check on him after work." "That's a great idea." Aisha and I made plans to go to James's apartment building together after work. We got there around 6. I buzzed his apartment. "Who is it?" he asked. "Aisha and Cameron from work," I said. "What are you doing here?" "We were in the neighborhood. We thought we'd see if you wanted to join us for drinks." "I'm busy. I saw you on camera today. I saw that other person too. Aisha and I just want to make sure you're okay." "Sorry, that was my nephew. He was just playing around. I'm watching him while my sister is out of town. If you could just come downstairs and talk to us for a minute," Aisha said, "it would make us both feel a whole lot better." He hesitated, but then agreed. He looked even worse in person than he had on camera. Pale and thin, his neck covered with bruises. "What happened to your neck?" Aisha asked him. "My nephew loves to jump on my shoulders. He thinks it's hilarious. The person I saw on Teams really didn't look like a kid though," I said. "Could I use your phone for a second?" he asked. "Sure." I unlocked my phone and gave it to him. He repeated, "Don't think," while he quickly typed a short message and then gave the phone back to me. "I need to get back upstairs," he said. He walked back to the elevator. When I turned around, I noticed the back of his neck was bleeding. "What did he write?" Aisha asked me. "Call my uncle. Chimera 3 is loose." We both felt uneasy, but we decided to go home after agreeing we'd try to track down his uncle's number at work the next day. By the time I got back to my apartment, it was late, close to 9 p.m. I hadn't eaten dinner yet, and I was starving, so I ate some instant ramen quickly and then went right to bed. I couldn't sleep though. I just lay there, staring at the ceiling, thinking about James, wondering what was going on. At midnight, my laptop blew up with hundreds of Teams and Slack message notifications. Our platform must have crashed, I thought. The CIA is complaining, and Keystone wants all hands on deck. I ran to my laptop and logged in, only to see that all the messages were from James. "I need to talk to you," he'd written over and over. I called him. His pale, skeletal face appeared on my laptop, his eyes completely white. That strange man sitting on his shoulders, riding him like a horse. "You're scaring me," I said. "You need to mind your own business." The strange man mouthed the words, and then James spoke them. "If you bother us again, you'll regret it." He ended the call. The next morning at work, I told Aisha what had happened. "Should I tell HR?" she asked. "Let's try to get a hold of his uncle first." I think he used his uncle as a reference on his job application. I should have his uncle's number on file somewhere. Aisha found the number and gave it to me. While we were talking, James sent her an email saying he was going to miss the morning stand-up. He'd come down with the flu and was having trouble getting out of bed. "Hopefully his uncle can help," she said. I called James's uncle as soon as I got back to my cubicle. He didn't answer, so I left a message. "My name's Cameron. I work with your nephew, James. He's been acting very strange lately. I'm worried he might be in trouble. He asked me to call you. He said Chimera 3 is loose." I left him my number and then tried to catch up on work. At 5, I left work and took the subway home. A middle-aged we walked to the park across the street. Then we sat on a bench far away from the playground. "You need to tell me everything you've seen," he said. It was just a few seconds on a Teams call. I told him about the man on James's shoulders, how James looked. "How long has James been acting strangely?" he asked. "I didn't notice anything was wrong until yesterday. I need you to come back to his apartment with me. You need to try to get him outside again." Roger had parked nearby. He took me to his car and then drove us to James's apartment building. I buzzed James's apartment again. "Who is it?" he asked. "It's Cameron. What do you want?" "You called in sick today. I wanted to make sure you're all right." "I'm fine." One of James's neighbors went into the building. Roger and I went through the front doors behind her. Then we took the elevator upstairs to James's apartment. "I'm going to wait back here," Roger said. "Try to get him out of." I went and knocked on James's door. "What?" he asked. "It's Cameron. I just want to talk for a minute." "Leave me alone." "Why can't you just tell me what's going on?" Suddenly, James's door swung open. James grabbed my arm and pulled me inside. For a second, that tiny, deformed man's beady eyes pressed against mine. Then, a horrible ringing filled my ears. Pressure built inside my skull until my brain felt like it would explode. The tiny man ran into the bedroom and then jumped through the window and ran down the fire escape. "Get back here, Kevin," Roger yelled. He ran to the bedroom window, but decided not to chase after him. Roger came back to James. "How is he?" "He doesn't look good," I said. He knelt and checked James's pulse. His face turned pale. "He's dead." I stared at his body. I'd never seen a dead body before. I felt strange to be looking at one. I wasn't sure how to react. So I just told Roger I was sorry. The police arrived. Roger explained what had happened. Then he offered to give me a ride home. During the car ride, he explained what he could. Kevin is a weapon that escaped from us. He's a parasitic empath. He has the ability to latch onto people, read through their minds, and influence their behaviors. Who knows how long he was attached to James? To drain his mind like that, he must have been attached to him for years. He shook his head. "The next few days, you need to be very careful. Kevin will be looking for a new host. If he had a chance to scan your mind in James's apartment..." He trailed off. I went up to my apartment, shut all the blinds, and turned off all the lights. I lay in bed and tried to get a bit of sleep, but I didn't sleep at all. The next morning at work, I went to Aisha's cubicle, but I didn't see her there. Right before our morning stand-up, our project director sent out an email saying Aisha was out sick and the stand-up was canceled. I messaged Aisha on Teams. "I hope you're not too sick. Do you have any time to talk?" She wrote back right away. "I'm still throwing up. If I feel better though, I'll call." I tried to get some work done. With everything that happened to James, I'd fallen pretty badly behind on things. I worked right until 7. Then I clocked out and went back home, ate dinner, and then sat in front of my TV, watching an NBA game. Near the end of the first quarter, I started to feel strange, sort of lightheaded, but there was pressure inside my head too. I went to the bathroom, swallowed 2 Advils, and then decided to just go to bed. The next morning, Aisha was back to run the morning stand-up, but she was working from home and kept her camera off the whole meeting. After the meeting was over, I messaged her on Teams. "Do you have any time to talk? Sorry, but I'm swamped with work. I need to catch up on some things." I'd tell her about James later. I didn't really know how I was going to tell her James was dead anyway. The day dragged until finally I was able to go home. I boiled some instant ramen, drained it, and put it in a big glass bowl. I mixed in the flavor packet and watched as the powder dissolved into the broth. Then my vision doubled. Something inside my skull pressed out against my eyes. I blinked and I was on the couch, the bowl of ramen half empty. I stood up, disoriented, and checked the time. 30 minutes had passed since I'd been in the kitchen. My head was throbbing, so I went to the bathroom and I swallowed 2 Advils just like I had the other night. A voice whispered in my ears, "Come outside, Cameron." What? I spun around the room, looking for who'd spoken to me, but nobody was there. I heard the voice again, farther away. I walked to the living room window and looked down at the park. Aisha stood in the light of one of the street lamps. Kevin sat on her shoulders, waving at me. I shut the blinds, ran to my bedroom, and hid in my closet. Then I got my phone and called Roger. He didn't answer. I left a message. "Kevin's here. He's outside my building." I held my phone in my shaking hands, trying to project my thoughts into Roger's mind. "Call me, call me." Finally, my phone lit up with a text message from him. "2 minutes out, stay calm." I tried to write back, but then my vision widened. The carpet pulled upward into my eyes. My eyes filled with white static. When the static faded, I stood in the park, next to the empty playground. Above me, the stars shone in the night sky. "It's a beautiful night, isn't it, Cameron?" Aisha Kevin said. So calm, so peaceful. Aisha stepped towards me, her eyes completely white. Kevin held onto her braids with one hand, while the fingers of his other hand were pressed inside her spine. I started to run, but my legs froze. "You can try to run," Aisha Kevin said, "but you can't get away from me." I couldn't let myself end up like that. I forced myself to keep running, but, like running in a nightmare, while my legs moved, I didn't move forward. I glanced back and saw Aisha Kevin slowly walking towards me. "Get on your knees," they said. I need to get on. I couldn't control my body anymore. I knelt on the ground. Kevin pulled his fingers out of Aisha's neck and then jumped off her shoulders. She fell to the ground, unconscious. "Now, let's get to know each other better," Kevin said. He walked around me and grabbed onto a handful of my hair. Right as he began climbing onto my shoulders, though, a horrible, screeching sound cut through my ears. Kevin fell over, screaming in pain. "Make it stop! Make it stop!" Roger walked towards us, holding out some kind of auditory device. "You've been very bad, Kevin," he said. "You've hurt a lot of people." "I don't want to go back." Armed soldiers appeared around us, dressed in camo, their faces covered with black masks. As Kevin lay on the ground, twitching in pain, they cuffed him and then dragged him into the back of a van parked on the street. Roger put his hand on my shoulder. "Are you okay?" "You got here right in time. I've been staying close to you. You're a lot like James. I had the feeling Chimera 3 would like you." He pointed at Aisha. "How long was your friend connected?" 2 days, I think. She should be fine, but we better get you both to the hospital." Aisha and I were brought to a military base where the doctors there ran a series of tests on our brains. The doctors said I seemed fine, though they weren't quite sure about it. They assured me Aisha should be back to normal soon, too. They just wanted to keep her at the hospital a bit longer. But again, they didn't seem certain. "I'm very sorry this happened to you," Roger told me. James had been helping develop some containment software, which put him in contact with the Chimeras. Chimera 3 in particular took a liking to him, but we thought our security protocols were secure. He hung his head. They weren't. Back at work, my coworkers had lots of questions about James and Aisha. The CIA managed the cover-up. The story they had given Keystone was that James had left for another job in Florida, and Aisha was away on sick leave. I went along with the story. I said I didn't know anything that Keystone didn't. After leaving the hospital, for the next few days, I had a pretty bad headache, but then my head started to feel better. The only problem was that every now and then, time skips ahead again. I lose 30 minutes to an hour. During the gaps, I've done things I don't remember doing. It's terrifying, but I hope the time gaps go away soon too. If they don't, I don't know what I'll do. But at least I'm not alone. At least I have Aisha to talk to about all of this. We're in this together. She called me today to tell me she's finally out of the hospital. She's taking a bit of time off before going back to work, but she's feeling a lot better too. We're supposed to meet for coffee tomorrow. I just hope it was really her I talked to, and not just a voice in my head.